This is, of course, the biggest Walmart audio build in the entire universe. Of course, this consists of a fully walled-off vehicle. Basically, from the B-pillar back is just a big, giant box. We have 8 Walmart subs ran off of 4 Walmart amps, all Walmart wiring. And then, of course, in the doors, we have 2 6.5s in both doors, all of which are ran off of another Walmart amp in the back. Now, in the last video, we got the majority of the box wrapped up. We got the full face of it done, got my port done, almost have this thing sealed off and ready to bump. Thank you guys for checking into this video. Of course, before I get started, gotta give a massive shout out to everybody who's made this build possible. First off, like I always say, guys, that's y'all, the awesome YouTube community that has come together, watches the videos, likes, comments, shares, all that stuff. Again, without y'all, I would not be doing this. 2, gotta give a big shout out to Custom Speaker Pods for sending me the pods for the front and the rear doors. Big Jeff Audio for supplying the batteries and the bass knob. And of course, Alfred Audio for sponsoring the channel. Quick word from them, then back to the video. Alfred Audio has been a huge supporter of the channel, and they have made some of the best equipment that I have tested out in my just years and years of doing reviews. Now, of course, this Walmart video is fun and all, but it is not the ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is to have a full def font system in there eventually. We're going to do that in stages, though. Since power is kind of the limiting factor in the build, the next step, we're going to be pulling out the Walmart amps, throwing in this 8K Apocalypse amps. Want to test this guy out, really see what it can do, and see how it can get those little Walmart subs moving. Then, once we're done with that, we're going to be pulling out the back of the box, extending the box out to make it big enough for, of course, my 815 Avatar subs. That will be crazy, crazy fun. We might start off testing out with this amp if I like this amp, but if we need even more juice, of course, we've got the DefBont 20K over there. That will be hooking up. What an absolute beaut. And, of course, we'll be swapping out the Walmart door speakers for these 6.5 speakers that we got over here. We got some of the Arnold Neos. Probably throw those in. Really going to get this Tahoe bumping. Let's do a quick refresher for anybody new to the channel or anybody who just forgot, since it's been like 6 years since I've posted a video. Of course, this is my old beat-up 2002 Chevy Tahoe. Beat-up car, but it is a great platform for a base vehicle. Of course, we got the Walmart speakers in here with the custom speaker pod door panels. We then have a B-pillar walled-off box. This is a 6th order. What I mean by a walled-off box, guys, is that, of course, there is a wall completely sealing the box off from the front cabin. We, of course, have 8 of the classic Gothic subs that you can get right from Walmart. We have 4 of the Power Acoustic Razor 2500 watt amps. At least that's what they claim they do. Then for the door speakers, we have this Jensen fella right here. Of course, all that is ran off of Walmart wire. And then powering it, of course, we have the Big Jeff Audio lithium batteries. Now, I've got the whole system set up to where it can play. That being said, I don't really have a way to easily adjust the bass. And, well, with a subwoofer system, we need to be able to do that. So, of course, Big Jeff Audio sent me his bass knob over here. This thing is sweet. Has a really nice feel. It's all metal. The knob feels really, really nice. There's no wiggle to it, but it's got a nice, smooth turn to it. And then we get, like, about 2.5 feet of RCAs. This thing is sweet. And I've already got my RCAs ran straight to the back of the head unit so I could test it out. Of course, we got to pull out the head unit, unplug the RCAs, and plug in this guy. Let's get to it. What a hassle that was, but Well, anyway, it is tight back there. But anyway, we got the knob all hooked up. Ah, looking good. Well, the main battery is dead, so I'm gonna let that charge up before I do any testing. But another thing I need to do something about these rocker panels. The frame on this car is great, which is why I got it. You gotta have a good frame if you're gonna have a good, strong electrical system. That being said, the body, not so much. And from I think just any shows, I mean, it just looks pretty crappy with all those rust spots. So we're gonna see if we can remedy that. Now I bought some just cheap rocker covers off of eBay. Of course, we got all the little connectors. These are for really any of the kind of early 2000s Chevys. I believe I'll have to trim them down so they'll fit on this, because I think they're long enough to fit on a Suburban as well as a Tahoe, but let's see. Now, these things look like they're exactly identical, but I did realize this one has an R on it, and this one has an L on it, so I don't know if it matters, but I guess right and left, that's what we'll go with. Got it trimmed down. That slides in there just like that. Then, of course, I gotta just bend this over and find a place to connect it. We just gotta drill holes and then stick these guys in there and snap them in place. Look at all the rust that shook off of there. But who cares, guys? Look at that. Not saying it looks great, but man, it looks so much better. As you can see, it just sits in there like that, and then you've got your little tabs that you drill a hole in and they snap in place and hold it. See how wavy it is from where that metal is rusty, but man, that looks a million times better. Well, if y'all are looking for an inexpensive way to hide the rust on your panels down here, this gets it done. Next up, gotta finish sealing off this box. Of course, the big thing is filling in all this down here and then going around the edges, getting all that filled in. Now, I could build a little faceplate to cover the whole thing, but I don't think I'm gonna do that yet. I'd like to put some speakers in there eventually, so I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna build a little piece that goes right here, that goes down to the floor, and then another piece right here that goes all the way down. That'll seal it off good enough for now. And then just gotta fill in really, you know, the big gaps up here and then all the little things around the sides. And this thing will be sealed off. I had to make a piece for over there. Took a little while, but we got that one figured out. Let's see if this guy fits. Oh, that fits in there beautifully, guys. Snug as a rug. Cool, so we can go ahead and attach those. And then I'm just gonna make a piece to block off the little corner there and the little piece here, and we'll have this thing wrapped up. All right, got a piece in there, a piece over on this side. So finally, guys, this box is officially, well, minus caulking, is officially sealed off as far as the wood goes. So exciting. You know, literally all we gotta do is to completely seal this thing off, of course, is just to caulk all the way around the edges. So let's get that done. Right, got the edges all caulked and sealed off. Woo! Glad to have that done. Well, the caulk has had a chance to dry. Guys, I think that means it is time. I think I'm gonna throw the driver's side seat back in just to make my life a little easier. And then we'll test this thing out. A lot of work has led up to this moment. Hopefully it's a good one. lot of work to do to get everything adjusted and tuned and whatnot. And I'm noticing that door panel over there rattles like crazy. Main thing is there's a little pocket right down in there that is supposed to be attached, but previous owner, when he pulled the door off, he ripped that pocket out of there thinking there was a screw or something back there, which there wasn't. So anyway, that thing's all loose and it's just slapping around like crazy. Also, I've not really tuned the amps yet, so it looks like, I don't know, looks like maybe it's these two. I think they're paired up together. Looks like they're moving, you know, a good deal more than some of these others, so got to figure out how to tune all those amps. I will say the bass knob is awesome. It is super smooth, and it just delivers a nice, smooth kind of signal as you're turning it. Very stoked on that. So this right here, definitely the majority of my issues with the noise. So this piece pulls out, which is obviously it's not supposed to. Really kind of, you can see that tab is broken off. Again, once it's in, it's supposed to really stay in. Also, this tab back here is broken. That allows this whole thing to flex. Okay, just pulling this guy out of the door makes it sound 100 times better in here. No more of that plastic on plastic slapping around. So we'll put a bunch of sound deadening in there. Obviously need to sound deaden the whole doors and everything, you know, before this is 100% done. Now over here, I'm realizing that the bass is vibrating this piece, and it's, well, probably not for this world much longer. Well, tuned it up a little bit, got it sounding a little bit better. That being said, you can see in the videos, these guys are not really moving that much. My little amps back there are just not putting out the power. Now, I will say, the batteries back there are only sitting at 13 volts currently, which is kind of standard for them to sit around 13, 13.2, 13.3, so they're not going to sit at anything crazy. And of course, I don't have an alternator on this vehicle yet. That's what I really need to kind of bump that up. I think if we could get these things charging at, you know, 14 point something volts, probably be in a better position. Well, I was having fun there, and then this sub right here just started unloading like crazy. Feels fine, but I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's being right here by the port or what it is, but it was not liking that. Of course, also this box is tuned lower. These subs definitely not designed necessarily for the lows, so maybe that's got something to do with it. Also, I'm playing music there. We got up to a 144.7. We'll have to do some more dB tests, I guess, and see what we get. These two batteries are champs, though, guys. I have not charged them up since I've had them in this. They've been in here for months now. Look at that. We're still sitting right at that 13 volts. It is not dropped at all. Now, even though I've not been charging these guys, I do need to go ahead and charge them up now that we're starting to do some testing out and whatnot. I've got this AC to DC power supply over here. This thing is awesome. You, of course, can go buy out some fancy charger, but if you use this thing correctly, it'll get the job done too. As you can see, it says we're sitting right at 13.1 volts right there. So I've got it right at 13.6 volts. Amps all the way up. That'll let that thing charge until it gets to 13.6 volts, and then once it does, you know, the amps will drop back down and it'll quit charging, so it'll kind of maintain it right at that. Now, you can charge these things up to 14.6 volts and be safe. But again, for trickle charging, if I'm going to leave this sitting here, that's how I would leave it. That being said, guys, probably not going to leave this just sitting and doing nothing when I'm not around. I'm up here working plenty, so I'll probably just have it on while I'm getting some work done in the shop. Next up, I need to build a little control panel for up front in the car. just so that way when I'm sitting up there, I can monitor and control all the things going on back here. To do that, I did get this Walmart 10 gauge kit. This will allow me to take power from my batteries, run it up front, just so I'll have plenty of juice to that control panel. Then I'm going to have this guy. Now, unfortunately, did not get this guy at Walmart. Got this fella off of Amazon. This is going to allow me to turn things on and off. Basically, it's got a power and a negative, which will hook up front. And then it's got this little centerpiece. When you turn this on, it'll send 12 volts out of that guy. That will then go to things like a voltmeter and switches so I can turn amps on and off, all that kind of stuff. The other things that I need, just to make the whole thing easier, is I've got this guy right here. Grab this fella from Amazon too. These, of course, are just positive and negative terminal blocks, so I'll be able to have this guy mounted just like that. That'll get my 12 volts to there. I'll then have a ground, ran to here. Then I can attach my switch panel and anything else to that up there for my different voltmeters, dB meters, that kind of thing. For example, I've got this dB meter I've been wanting to mount. Of course, this will make that easy. Nice thing about this Amazon kit, it actually came with really nice copper lugs for this main terminal here. Now, I'm not going to need anything near this big. I'm just running really simple stuff off of this. Again, all we have is like 10 gauge wire here, so I'll put a smaller lug on it, but it is nice they came with these. This was a real, pretty affordable kit. Also has the cover that you can put on, which is nice. And then they give you all the little fellas as well to attach everything to. Pretty cool. Now, they always say don't run your RCAs and your power wire, along the same side of the vehicle. Don't know if it really matters, but since we are using cheap RCAs, hey, it can't, and of course I have the room, it can't hurt. So I've got all my RCAs running around that side. I'm gonna take my little power wire, run it along this side, just to make sure there's no kind of interference with those RCAs. Also, this side has got the fuse on it. I want my fuse as close to my batteries as possible. If there was to be a short in this wire somewhere, I would want the fuse to blow before the short made its way to the batteries, and of course, lithium batteries, causes a fire. We don't want that. Now I've got these ran to here. I may move it, not 100% sure. I've got this guy grounded. There's actually a factory grounding location right here, so I ran another wire for that. All that's nice and ready to go. I'm gonna build some sort of little control panel right here. Again, there'll be some sort of box here, which will have my buttons and whatnot, just so I can reach over here. I can turn certain things on and off. And of course, just have this here so I can add accessories and whatnot. Now, I'm not 100% sure this is gonna stay here. I've also thought about building it up here. I don't know, guys, not sure yet. Another thing I've got this voltmeter over here. This one is cool because you can track voltage at multiple places. So I'll have one ran from the back battery so I can see exactly what the back battery voltage is. I'll have one ran to the alternator. Of course, I'm gonna have two alternators. One alternator is gonna charge the basic car stuff. A second alternator, which is gonna be a standalone for all the audio stuff. So I'll be able to have one voltmeter in there too, but they'll all show up on this one screen. These LF audio meters are awesome. Another cool thing about this is that you can put your wires here on the bottom, but if you want to mount this in a box and you don't want to see any wires, you also can plug it in back here, and then it'll sit in there nice and flush. Well, guys, still a lot of work to do, a lot of buttoning up to do before we can really properly test this thing out and see what it can do the old DB test on it. I think I'm really hurting as far as the power goes. I really do need more power to push these subs. I really don't think these amps are just gonna do it, at least not for what I want to see. But it is what it is. We'll give it its best shot. Still more to go, but I really wanted to get y'all another video, so knocking this one out. Thank you guys, and remember, as always, keep basing on.